Welcome back in your English class. In my previous video, I explained the poem A Legend of Northland from stanza 1 to 10, and now in this video you will get the explanation of the poem from stanza 11 to 16. But before the paraphrasing of the poem, I will summarize it. This poem is a legend about an old lady who angered Saint Peter because of her greed. The story goes on like this. In Northland lived a lady who was very selfish and greedy. Saint Peter, while preaching the word, reached her door one day. She was making cakes and baking them on a hearth. Saint Peter was fainting with hunger. He asked the lady to give him a cake. The cake that she was baking then appeared to be too big, so she did not give him a piece from that and baked another small one. That also appeared to be big, so she did not give him that also. Now she took an extremely little scrap of dough and rolled it flat. She had it as thin as a wafer, but was unable to part with that also. This angered Saint Peter a lot. He said that she was not fit to live in human form and enjoy food and warmth. He cursed her and transformed her into a woodpecker who has to bore in hard and dry wood to get its scanty food. She can be seen in the trees all day, boring and boring for food. Now I will read stanza 11. Then good Saint Peter grew angry, for he was hungry and faint, and surely such a woman was enough to provoke a saint. Here, provoke means cause to get angry. Here, Saint Peter became angry when he saw that the lady was extremely greedy and was not ready to give a single piece from her storage of cake. He became angry. He was very hungry and was feeling very weak, and the selfish woman was not ready to give him even a small cake. This behavior of the greedy woman angered the saint. Let's come to the stanza 12. And he said, "You are far too selfish to dwell in a human form, to have both food and shelter, and fire to keep you warm." Yes, here dwell means to live. Saint Peter cursed the woman and said that she was very selfish. She did not deserve to live like a human being. He added that God has given her food, shelter, fire to keep warm, but she had become selfish for all the resources she had. She did not want to share them with anybody. Let's come to the stanza 13. You shall build as the birds do, and shall get your scanty food by boring and boring and boring all day in the hard dry wood. Here scanty means very little, and boring means make a hole in something with a tool by digging. Saint Peter cursed the woman that hence she would become a bird because she did not deserve the human form. She shall become a bird And just like birds build their houses by boring into the wood and collect very little food by working hard the entire day. Similarly, she would also work hard in the dry wood all day and get little food and make a small place for herself to live in. Let's come to the stanza 14. Then up she went through the chimney, never speaking a word, and out of the top flew a woodpecker, for she was changed to a bird. Yes. As soon as Saint Peter cursed the woman, she did not get a chance to speak for herself because that very moment she flew up to the roof through the chimney and flew out in the form of a bird. Saint Peter's curse had converted the woman into a bird. Let's come to the stanza 15. She had a scarlet cap on her head, and that was left the same, but all the rest of her clothes were burned, black as a coal in the flame. Scarlet means bright red color. When the woman turned into a bird, at that time she was wearing a red colored cap on her head. This cap was there on the bird's head also, but the woman's remaining clothes had burned and turned black in color just like coal. Let's come to the last stanza of the poem. And every country school boy has seen her in the wood where she lives in the trees till this very day, boring and boring for food. Country means belonging to the countryside. It is rural area. Yes. People who live in the countryside, even the small children who go to school, seen this kind of bird in the woods. They see that she stays there all day and keeps on digging the wood with her beak to collect her food. Whenever any child sees this kind of bird, then his elders tell him this story. They say that the bird used to be a woman earlier. She was very greedy, and so she was cursed by Saint Peter and turned into a bird. They get a teaching that they should not be greedy. My dear children, what the message we get through this poem? Yes, the message is when people come to us for help and we are in a position to help them, we should do so. This is the main message given by the story. Saint Peter goes to a cottage and asks a woman for food. The woman refuses to share even a small amount of food. The woman could have easily offered a little food to Saint, but because of selfishness, she refuses to do so. So the saint feels that the woman is not worthy of living as a human being. He curses her and makes her a woodpecker. So the message of welcoming our guest and being nice to them is emphasized here. Let us check poetic devices of this poem. Here you will get simile because comparison to distinct words by using the word is like, I will give you the example, black as coal in the flame, baked in thin as a wafer, children look like bear's cub. These are the example of simile. You will get repetition also. And rolled it flat. Rolled word is repeated here. Boring and boring for food. So you will get repetition here. Alliteration you will find funny, furry, cloth. Alliteration is here. Personification. You will find personification here also. Actually, human qualities is given to a bird. Where she lives in the trees. She is said for the bird. So, personification is here. Imagination is also here. These are the poetic devices. Let us discuss NCERT's question answers. Question 1. Which country or countries do you think the Northland refers to? Actually, it is a country in the north where days are short and nights are long. Second question. What did Saint Peter ask the old lady for? What was the lady's reaction? Saint Peter asked the old lady for a piece of cake or a small cake. The lady behaved miserly and kept decreasing the size of the cake. At last, she did not give him anything to eat. Next question. How did he punish her? Answer. He cursed her and made her a woodpecker. How does the woodpecker get her food? The woodpecker bores the hard and dry wood to get its food. Let's see the next question. Do you think that the old lady would have been so ungenerous if she had known who Saint Peter really was? What would she have done there? No, she would not have done this. On the contrary, she would have given him a large piece of cake to make him happy with the greed to get a handsome return. Definitely, same as the greedy people do. Next question. Is this a true story? Which part of this poem do you feel is the most important? No, it is an imaginative story. Is a legend. The third stanza of the poem is very important. I feel that the point in the story where little woman is changed into a woodpecker is the most important. This is because the punishment meted out to the woman teaches us the value of generosity and charity. Let's come to the next question. What is a legend? Why is the poem called a legend? Yes, children, a legend is an old traditional story, usually with a moral. Here, it is meant to be narrated to children. The poet herself says that she does not believe this tale to be true. This poem is called a legend because it preaches generosity towards fellow being. Let's come to the last question. Write a story of a legend of Northland in about 10 sentences. You have to write 10 sentences. The poem is a story of an old woman. She is asked by Saint Peter for alms who has become weak because of fasting and traveling. But her greed forces her not to give him anything. He becomes angry and makes her a woodpecker who bores hard, dry woods to get food. Her clothes are burnt to ashes and she is left with a cap on her head. She continues boring into hardwood for little food. Even today, she still lives in the woods and is seen by all the rural schoolboys. You have understood this poem? Everything is clear to you now? Okay, thank you.